the moment of truth. What's in this box right here? This is the stealth bomber of bicycles. This bike is practically all carbon fiber. It's the most expensive bike I've ever owned. I've been dreaming about riding this bike forever, and now I finally have it. If I can't do it on this bike, I probably can't do it at all. I can't wait to rip this thing out of the box, put it together, and put it to the test. So let's do exactly that right now. This thing is crazy light. I wonder if they just forgot to put the bike in here. It doesn't feel like there's anything whatsoever. The time has come. We're about to open this thing up. My hands are actually shaking. I've been thinking about riding this bike for so long, and now that it's actually right here and I'm about to build it and ride it, I can't even process right now. I'm so hyped. Let's do this. This bike is obviously special, but this piece right here is one of the things I've been looking forward to the most. One of the problems I run into being in Oregon, which is far from a lot of other riders, is that I don't know how anyone else sets their bikes up. I can just kind of look on the internet just like everybody else. Knowing how far to rotate your bars forward or any of that kind of stuff is kind of a challenge, and this solves that problem for me. Not only do I not have to mess around with stem bolts anymore, but I also don't have to decide how far forward I'm going to run my bars because this has solved it for me. The fact that this is put together in Spain means that somebody who's really good at riding bikes decided how far forward we should probably be with our handlebars, so now I don't even have to think about it. Success, we got this thing built and it is insane. It's as light as I expected it to be and it just looks crazy. I cannot wait to ride this thing. But before I do, I want to show you a couple things that make it kind of special and things that stood out to me while I was putting it together. So number one, do not adjust. I guess it's kind of sweet that a trial specific shop put this bike together. You know it's going to work great. Check out this head tube here. This is actually thicker at the bottom here than it is at the top, and we're starting to see that happen with a lot more trials bikes because people are doing hooks where they hook their front wheel over something or they're jumping and landing on their front wheel. So you have a much thicker bit at the bottom here, and then it tapers down to about 1.25 inches here. I've seen this on a lot of the newer bikes, and this makes it a lot stronger than the previous bikes. I talked about this bar and stem before, but here's another shot at it. You can see exactly how it all fits together and how it looks on the bike. It kind of looks crazy, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's actually the perfect setup, and I'm anxious to ride it just to see how it feels. But now I don't have to worry about any kind of stem bolts up here. And that's the part I'm the most excited about. I've had some trouble with stems in the past, and I feel like this is gonna solve that problem and give me confidence in the bike, which is something I've been lacking in a lot of bikes lately. I'm not sure if you can see this from there, but the bottom bracket is actually offset to make room for the drivetrain here. And also, the true test of a trials bike, listen to this. That's some legit engagement. But there's actually a chain tensioner on the inside of the chainstay of this bike. Normally on a 20-inch bike, there's this thing called like a snail, and it's just this little metal piece that helps lock the rear wheel in place, but they're kind of shady. I'm not a big fan. So to have an actual chain tensioner like you would on a 26-inch bike or a 24-inch bike, this is actually a huge deal, and I feel a lot more confident with this. The other thing is, it's got a through axle for the rear hub and actually in the front, which increases stiffness of the wheels on the bike. This bike is going to be so stiff between the carbon and the through axles and all that kind of stuff. And actually, while I'm looking at it here, you can't see this too easily either, but the hydraulic line is actually routed through the frame to the back wheel. So there's nothing. They really live up to your name, Clean, when you've got a bike like this. There's a hydraulic line routed through the frame. That's insane. This bike really is the best. This is kind of crazy. When I opened the box, there were these extra little pieces that look like this, and there's one in the stem right now. It goes up into the stem and around the steer tube, and there's two different ones, and I thought they were all the same, and then I started looking at them. I don't know if you can see this, but this one has a little bit of an angle to it, so you can adjust a little bit of the height and angle of the stem, just little micro adjustments, but all you have to do is put these little shims in place and you can switch out the way that the stem feels just by a little bit at a time. But oh, that's genius. I can't believe it. I thought these were just like packing things, but apparently not. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm freaking out right now. I finally have my dream bike. I've been thinking about this bike for so long, and I finally have it built and ready to go inside the shred spot. We have come such a long way since the senior photo of me riding that GT mod bike. Amazing, amazing. Now we have an all carbon bike and we're ready to go. I gotta do this first back wheel hop to get the ball rolling, and then we can really test this thing out. The real moment of truth, first back wheel hop. Oh man, I'm like nervous. This is insane. Oh wow. Oh, we're gonna have some fun on this bike.
That's awesome.
This is crazy. The number one question I've been asked so far on this bike is how much it weighs, and the answer is 15.9 pounds or 7.24 kilos. It's crazy light. It's actually like 2.5 pounds lighter than the previous mod bike I had. And the cool thing about it is, although it's crazy light, it's also the stiffest bike I've actually ridden. And you'll see when I rode the bike for the first time, I started laughing when I hopped on the back wheel because it didn't flex at all. And it wasn't until I rode this bike for the first time that I realized how much my aluminum frames were actually flexing when I was on the back wheel. And flexing to the point where I was having to hop a couple times extra. On this bike, I can just get up onto the back wheel and basically stay there without needing to correction hop. And that is crazy. That's the thing I least expected when I got on this bike. So the one thing that didn't come with this bike that I wish really did was some kind of frame protection. And when I first announced that I was getting this bike, a bunch of the team riders hit me up and said, hey, make sure you get the frame protector that goes along the bottom of the bike. It covers the chainstay, it covers the down tube, and just make sure that you're protecting your investment. This is a pretty expensive bike, and the last thing I want to do is ruin it on the first ride. So I'm gonna wait until that shows up in the mail. It's on its way here from Spain right now. And as soon as I get that frame protector in place, we're gonna take this thing out and have a really proper ride on it. But until then, check out this video, which is the difference between a 20 and 26 inch trials bike.